Do you find yourself setting goals or targets and not achieving them? Maybe they're personal goals in your own life to be healthier or to read more. Maybe you find yourself making good progress, but before you know it, you turn to bad habits. Well, if this is something that you've struggled with, this book is for you. So, here at the ADHD Guide, we hope to provide videos that are based on how to focus, how to be productive, and how to live a particularly distraction free and meaningful life. So, we hope you enjoy this video. Point number one: execution is key. Think of the most successful person that you know in your own life. They're probably very, very good at doing and just executing on things. I've got a particular friend who I would consider to be very successful. And one of the things that he said to me recently was that he doesn't particularly read books. He'll just look at the idea in a brief video and then he'll try and put it into practice. And this demonstrates the idea that it's not the knowledge that we need, but rather the ability to execute. And in this particular book, Derek Sivers talks about this idea of how knowledge or an idea is only one part of it, and actually the ability to execute very well on an idea is what separates a good company from a great company. And so in this, he says about how brilliant ideas say it's worth 20, implementing that weekly is worth 1,000, but implementing that excellent and a brilliant execution is worth 10 million. So being able to execute is much more important than being able to learn more. Number two, training camps. So for those of you who know about the sport of boxing, there's this idea of training camps. And this is the idea that an athlete in any sport will train throughout the year to keep in good shape. But around the time of a fight, usually about 3 months before the fight, they will spend much more time focusing on a particular opponent and training in a much more intense and focused way. And so in the book, he talks about shifting the focus from being based on yearly targets to being more about focused on, say, weekly targets. And so the benefit of a training camp is it's much more intense and there's much more momentum. Often with yearly targets, we start off strong in January, February, but then we inevitably can't sustain that momentum and that intensity. And so it drops off and then we usually pick up again near the end of the year. And so having a much shorter time frame can then mean that we're much more likely to achieve our goals. Number three, strong emotional stake. What is the purpose of why you want to achieve the goal that you've set out? What is it that you ultimately want? Or put a different way, what kind of future do you dream of? And it sounds like a silly question. I just want to run because it's healthy. Yeah, but what future would you have? And I guess the opposite is true. What future would you not have if you didn't achieve that? So for me, in terms of running, one of the things that drives it is being able to have energy to play with my children and be able to physically do that and have the energy to do that. And I want to have a future where I'm able to do that for many, many decades to come. And so the book says about creating a compelling vision of the future. So in your mind, actually think about what you want, and maybe many of the things that you want to achieve you have already, and that's great. So most of the things that people think about they want to achieve are related to money, having more money, buying a bigger house. But again, what is the purpose of that? What is it that you want from that? Is it that you want more freedom? Is it that you want more time with family? Is it that you want more new novel experiences? So again, many of these things you can probably get now, but maybe some of these things you can't, and that is really, really important when you're struggling to know whether to go out for a run or just turn on Netflix. And Netflix is so much easier, but the run gets you one step closer towards that vision that you have got in mind. Number 4. We talk about wanting to get the perfect balance between what we do in our own personal lives and work and having everything perfectly balanced, but it's impossible, especially in the modern life when there's so many things that we need to achieve. It is utterly impossible. And so the key is to, rather than trying to strive for this perfect balance that no one can achieve, it's about trying to have intentional imbalances. So it's saying for a particular period of time, I'm going to focus on something guilt free. And this kind of fits in with the idea of training camps, of switching your focus to something very specific. And so at the moment, again, I talk about running, I'm running for a race in October. So that's a large part of kind of what I'm aiming for, is this kind of more intense focus around running and developing my ability to do that. Number 5. So one of the things that we tend to do when we set goals is we tend to record the outcome. So like if maybe we're trying to lose weight and we do exercise, and so we record what our weight is, for example, and that's important. But actually, what about the output of what we're doing? The actual work that we're outputting. Maybe we're running, maybe we're recording our calories each day. And so part of what the book says is about having a really robust framework for recording your exact output and your outcomes. So for me, with the running, it's about how many runs I've done a week. What type of running have I done? Have I done weight training? Have I done stretching? I record all of these things. But also, it's in addition to that, the outcomes. So looking at my heart rate, measuring that, looking at my VO2 max, measuring that, looking at my blood pressure, because all of those things will be affected by my output. So it's about having a robust way of recording both of those. So those are my top 5 points from the book, The 12-Week Year. Hope you've enjoyed the video. What I'm going to do in the next video is show you the framework that I've created that helps you to set goals, and I'll show you an example of mine. That'll be in my next video. So really hope you've enjoyed it. Please please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you've got any questions, please write them in the comments. All right, see you in the next one.